Right. For some of you who had attended yesterday's class, right? These are the basic pointers that I told you guys to look out for whenever you get a problem. First, try to read the question and try to find out what the parts are of in this question. So, write a program to display the factors of a number, right? So, can anybody tell me what the first step would be in this program? Break it down into steps and tell me. What should I do first?
First ask the
So
user.
int count.
Is that the first step though?
So import scanner class.
No. Don't go too much into the coding aspect. Just tell what should be my first step in general. I think
Like first you
So
ask
we'll
input from the user.
So take the number.
First, we'll ask the input from the user or take the number. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing. Again, we have broken down the step. Reading the number from the user, right? So that's our first step. So how would we read the number from the user? Using a scanner class, right?
yes.
System.in. Okay. So just a general thing that I want to tell you guys. Whenever you're giving an output to the user, you are and telling him to do a certain action, or you're telling the user that you expect a certain action from the user. That's called prompting the user, right? So when I tell enter an input number, so that is basically what is called prompting a user to perform an action. Usually at this level, right? All like we need to prompt the user to do things. But even when you're developing bigger apps in the future, you have to make your app in such a way that is very clear for the user what to do. Right now, if I click on this close button, right now it's giving me a dialog box saying what exactly options I have. So save factors of a number. That means it's telling me I have not saved it yet. Do I want to save it, or do I not want to save it? Then do I just want to cancel the dialog box? So you see, right, this is actually a prompt what the computer is giving me, and all the inputs that I'm allowed to enter are clearly given here. So this is something that you have to keep in mind as well when you're developing bigger programs. So the principles for building small programs and big programs is always the same, but the difference just happens in the complexity of the programs. So now let's see the number. System.out.println, enter a number, right? So now we have done that. Now int num is equal to sn dot next int. Okay. Now can anybody tell me what is the next step? I have to iterate from which number to which number to find the factors.
So from that number.
From that number to
So you start from one and then end it till the number.
yeah,
Like
perfect.
the
And
number inputted by the user, like which is
yeah,
storing it in.
can anybody tell me what a factor is?
Like which is like two factors you have 1 and 2, like which is divisible by that.
Okay, yeah, perfect. That's a good example.
Then like 4, if you want to say factors of 4, like 1, 2.
Okay, now I'll tell you why the definition is very important here. As you said, right, you gave the correct examples for factors. Now, factors I can say when a number perfectly divides, when a number x perfectly divides a number y, x is said to be a factor of y. I can tell it in a mathematical sense like that, right? Now, can I give another definition? When x divides y and the remainder is 0, that means x is a factor of y. You guys got that, no? So now I've given a trick there. So in programming language, first I write the iteration part. Okay, int I is equal to 1, I less than equal to num, I plus plus. Okay, now if, can you tell me what should go inside here? I is num is the number that we have got as an input, and I is the iteration count. So tell me what should I enter here to get the factor? If how do I check if I is a factor of num?
So it should be the num mod I is equal to 0.
Yeah. So when I tell if when num is divided by I and it leaves a remainder of 0, that means I is a factor of num, right? That's the definition. Now system.out.println, right? We can just print the number I. And one more thing, right? Just to make it clear to the user what we're exactly printing out. So you always put this: the factors are The factors are, yeah. Now let's run this program. Okay, let's say a number like 12, right? The factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, right? So this is how we do this small program, okay? And you guys should understand the basic concept. So when you read a question, break it down into the steps that you can approach the question. Yeah, somebody's joined the call. I just let them in. Sorry. Yeah, admit. Yeah. When the 10th one I said, right? Sum of even factors of a number. Okay, this is very similar to the last problem. Do you guys want me to do this? Wait, we'll just do it anyway because it includes another concept. Okay, so sum of even factors of a number. Okay, I'm telling from the same program, how would you convert this to that program? Sum of even factors of a number.
So there'll be an if else for finding odd and even, like only even, and there'll be like an addition, like sum.
Perfect, perfect. You have exactly pointed out the two things that we have to add to this program. So write a program to display the even factors of a number. Okay. So let's say we have accepted the number. Now we don't have to print out the factors. We just have to print out the sum.
So it will be
Mhm.
so sum of even factors, right?
Yeah. Display of yeah. Okay. Now. Right, you always initialize the sum outside the loop. Okay, sometimes right, people will make a mistake of trying to initialize it inside the loop. Okay, so this every time it comes to the loop, it will initialize sum to 0, and that's not what we want. We want the sum of all the factors. Okay, now we'll just for a sample sake, right, I'll show you what happens here. Sum plus equal to I uh, system dot. Okay, right now will it print the sum of even factors or print the sum of all factors?
For all factors.
Exactly, because we haven't checked for the even condition. So the sum of all factors is okay. Now, I mean, let's just see what it prints out first and see what's wrong there. Okay, first of all, something that's wrong is because see, I'm trying to call sum outside the bracket, and here sum is initialized inside. You can't call it that way. Now, okay, this is a wrong program. Okay, but I just want you guys to solve another error, not this error. I'm trying to call sum outside, and I want to initialize sum to 0 inside also. Now, how would I be able to call sum outside? Where should I declare sum? I want this error to go away. It's telling me I can't see.
Outside the for loop.
Okay, outside the follow, what would I do?
Like So
So
then
declare
sum
the
is equal
variable
to
outside
0.
the yeah int sum. Okay. Now that is the right way to do it. Okay.
So equal to 0, look at that also, right?
This is an important thing that he's told, right? Why is this important? Let's see. Let's read the error.
Sir, and we'll remove the sum is equal to 0 inside the for loop.
Yeah, that we'll do it just when this I wanted to show. Okay, what's the error of trying to initialize it to 0 inside? That we'll do it later. But I just want to tell this. This is also another. The local variable sum may not have been initialized. You guys see what the problem there is? We are trying to add something. We are trying to print it out, but this doesn't. We're not having. We're not initializing its value at this stage here. So the computer thinks, hey, wait a second, you have not initialized the value, and are you sure you want me to print it out? So that is also an error, okay? But yeah, these things you have to take care of. And so now let's see what this program prints, okay? Just for the sake. Now, what do you think this program will print out right now?
So sum of all the factors.
Sum of all factors. Will it print the sum of all factors?
No, sir.
Why?
Because you have not. Okay, no, wait.
Okay, let's just see what happens. Enter a number 12. Sum of all factors is 0. Strange. Very strange. What's happened?
So some, so after if, like in the second one,
Okay, wait. That's another error. I had written plus instead of this thing. Okay, now let's see this. That loop went up to 11. Okay, just to give you a clue, that loop went up to 11, and this loop went up to 12 when I wrote equal to. Right. It's telling me the sum of all factors is 12. Um, but 12 has many other factors also. Is sum of all factors of 12 12? No. So tell me what's the problem?
yes.
What is the problem?
So where you written
Just
some,
like a if statement.
See, something that I'm doing inside the for loop that is resetting the value of sum to 0. Can you tell me what that is? Which line?
Oh, some
so the
like
sum is equal to 0.
Yeah, line 12, right? At line 12, what I'm doing is I'm resetting the sum to 0 every time I'm running the for loop, right? So it basically just printing out the last factor. So last factor here it is 12. So it is printing out sum plus is equal to I. So the last loop value is 12, and 12 is a factor of itself, right? So it's just printing out 12. Now what happens when I do this? If I give the input as 12 here, what value will I get? What do you think? So the loop value will be 11, some value will be 0. Then what will happen? The last I below num, right? I'm entering 12 as an input. Okay. The last value that I can take is 11. So 11 enters inside the loop, and tell me what some value will be printed out after this. Take your time.
So in the 14th line, it will be like sum is equal to sum plus I.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this is one more thing that I guys want to tell the new guys. So this sum plus equal I is actually known as a shorthand assignment. This is the same as sum is equal to sum plus I. Okay, so these two things are equivalent. Whenever you write this, is just a short way of writing the whole thing, right? So
Okay, sir.
when I write something like sum into is equal to I, that means sum is equal to sum into I. Okay, so those are just the two a shorthand assignment. Just to make our work easier, we write in the short format. Okay, now tell me what happens when I value is equal to 11, and what output will, I mean, I'm num value I'm entering as 12, and I'm giving you guys a clue. The last value I can take here is 11, because when it becomes 12, it is equal to num, and it will exit from the loop. So tell me what will be the output. We'll say sum of all factors is 0.
So in the for loop, like in the 11th line, it will be I is greater than equal to, no, sorry, less
I,
than equal to.
yeah, less than equal to. No, no, this is just to demonstrate. Because see, we know that, right? When I enter 12, 12 is always a factor of 12. So it will print out sum of all factors is 12. That case is so. Now I want to see the case for when the maximum value I can take is 11. So what do you think this will print out, this program, when I give the input as 12? Hmm. Just think about it, and see, this is not related to loops, but this is an important question because it makes us understand how we can think like a program and understand each line of what's happening. Or do you guys want me to print out the answer, and do you guys want to tell me why the answer is printed out that way? Which way do you guys prefer? Anyone wants to guess, or even tell me if
So will it be 14?
will it be 14? No, not 14. Hmm. Okay, let me print out the answer, and let us analyze together why it's printing out. So I'm putting 12. Okay, sum of all factors is 0. Okay, so let's see what is happening. Okay, I value is equal to 11. It comes inside the loop. Now sum value is equal to 0. The value of sum is now 0. Okay, it's reset to 0. Now, is 12 mod by 11 equal to 0?
no.
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 So then it comes here, sum plus I will not execute, right? And it comes here. Now system dot out dot println sum of all factors. What was the value of sum we reset to? 0. So it prints out sum of all factors is 0. Again, this is not a question about your loops. It's a question about how we can think like a program. So whenever you guys know like want to read a program and understand it, always read it line by line and see what happens. Okay. So the first thing that I found out was because we say I below num here, the final value I can take is 11. So that I figured out. Now sum is equal to 0. Okay. That means whatever sum value we had before doesn't matter. Right now the sum value after we enter this condition is 0. Okay, now if num mod by I equal to 0, we found out it's not. So this we found out it won't execute. Then we came here and told system.out.println sum of all factors is 0. So this is the way that you always like think. Okay, like don't, when you see a program, don't like think you can't understand, because see, all of you guys are much smarter than a coder or what the program is actually saying. Don't get intimidated by what the program is saying. Always go line by line. It will take some time. Okay, it'll take like some 1 or 2 months to get the hang of it. But once you get the hang of being able to read a program and understand it, it'll never. It's one skill that will never leave you in your whole life. Okay. So now just to convert this to a program that only prints all even factors. Okay.
Sir, will you have to remove line number 12?
Perfect. Perfect. That's a good suggestion. Okay. Now what is the next thing that we do?
Sir, after that, in the if part, like if num modulus I, after that we put and, like
Yeah.
and then sir, after that I modulus 2
Yeah.
will be equal to 0.
Perfect. Right. That is the correct suggestion. Okay. So good work. Whoever gave this answer. Can anybody explain me why this part was important? I mod by 2 is equal to 0. Anybody else?
Because you have to print like the even factors, so we should get the remainder as
The
0.
sum of even factors. So basically, first part what we're doing is we are finding if I is a factor of num. Second part what we're doing is we are checking if I is an even number. So that's all. Those are the basics of what we're doing. And now let us see. So if I enter a number like 4, what should the output be?
So 3, sir.
Sum of all even factors of 4.
2.
2 is one
So
factor.
6.
6.
So
Okay, let's see
6.
if we get 6. Okay, sum of all even factors is 6, right? So 4 and 2 are
Oh, yeah, 4 and 6. Yeah, correct.
4 and 2 are even factors of 4, and we are getting sum of all even factors is 6. So that is the program. Okay. So those are the concepts that I want you guys to remember. Never initialize something to 0 inside the for loop. The whole program becomes wrong. Okay. Yeah. Other than that, we also understood why we are doing I mod by 2 is equal to 0, just to check if I is even. Okay. That program we have understood up to some level. Now let us go to the 15th program. Input 5 marks for each of 10 students and display the total for each student. Okay, guys. This we move on to our next concept. This is called a 2D loop or nested for loop. Okay, so that means have you guys you guys have rows, no, rows and columns in your class, like tables and stuff.
Yeah, sir.
Where did most of you people study? In which college or which school?
Sir Ryan.
9, sir.
Yeah, me. I was a Ryan too once upon a time, so it's good to know that people still go there and have fun and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so okay, so in our rows and columns, right? We have something like this. Okay, okay. Okay. So right. So each row has how many tables? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. Each row has 6 tables, and there are 3 rows. Okay. So in this also, right? Have you guys done matrices?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so in matrices, what you have like a table of values, right? So you have like rows of values and columns of values. So both of these combine to make up the matrix, or even in classrooms, right? You have one table, two table, three table, and you have rows of tables and columns of tables, and both these things combine to form the classroom, right? So whenever we come to these sort of implementations, right, where there are rows and columns and stuff like that, just to iterate through everything, we use something called a 2D loop, okay, or a nested for loop. Now let us come to the question. Write a program to accept. Okay, just to make it simpler, marks of three subjects of three students and print total for each student. Okay, so let's say this is our problem. See, and like I just want to tell you guys one thing, right? So far, whatever we did, right? Even number, odd number, factors, and things like that. Those generally don't have like this real world application, right? Like even numbers, odd numbers, most of us can tell. But now, when we come to write a program to accept marks of three subjects of three students and print the total for each student, don't you think this is a real world scenario where our programmatic skills will actually be useful? Right, so this is how close to developing a real world application you guys are in, right? You guys were just started to learn programming a few months ago and you're already building some application that is would be useful in a real world scenario. And this is how, right, just a little more ahead you'll be developing real apps, and more than that you'll probably be adding something like machine learning, data analytics and things like that. So that is why, right, you guys are very close to developing real world applications, and that is why I feel like whenever you approach computer science as a subject, always think that you are going to be developing apps and applications in the real world in the future, and the fundamentals are very important for us to understand to develop them. Okay, so okay, let's break down the question into parts again. What are the parts of the question? Can somebody tell me?
So first we need to accept those three
Input,
subjects and
Except three
input from user,
yeah, input from user. And second part would be
like the marks for each student.
take the marks for each student and then total the mark for each student and print it out and do it for three students. Okay, perfect. Now we have done the breaking down the problem into smaller parts. Okay, so let's say reading the okay. So first, right, what would the bigger loop be? Would we iterate through three students first or three subjects first? Let us say I want to let us say Akshan and Mithila, they come to me with their marks, and I want to, and like let's say they forgot all mathematics they learned so far and they're like, Vaishnav, bro, we are very sorry, we don't know how to calculate our total marks. So and I have to tell Akshay his total marks, I have to tell Akshan his total marks, I have to tell Mithila our total marks. So will I go student by student or will I go subject by subject?
student by student.
Student by student.
Perfect. So first, what I'll do, I'll go ask Akshay. Akshay, tell me your three subject marks. Then I'm like, oh, I'll do full math, and he'll be very impressed. Like, oh, he knows so much math, and I'll tell him his total. Then I tell Akshan, I'll ask his three subjects, and I'll tell his total. Mithila, I'll ask her three subjects, and I'll tell her total. So the first, what we're supposed to do is iterate through the number of students, right? So that is what we're going to do. For int I is equal to 1. Okay, just to simplify things, let's say number of students is equal to 3. Okay, I below number of students. Okay, I plus plus. Okay, now just okay, these things are just extra things that I'm adding to the program to make it more interactive and we understand, okay, what really the program is doing. Enter your name. Okay, so scanner sn is equal to new scanner system dot in. Okay, string name is equal to sn dot next line. Okay, now we have now I've got the student. Now what should I do? I should ask his
Marks.
marks. So I'll just say one more thing here. Number of subjects is equal to 3. Now can you tell me how this loop I should write?
So int I is equal to
Sorry.
1.
Int okay, one thing, okay, somebody's given a very good effort there. Int I therefore, okay, when
Int J's
okay,
or
this is the
something.
correct thing,
Yeah.
right? But I'll tell you why. See, whenever you're initializing int I, right, just don't initialize it inside the inside loop also. Because then the program will try referencing to the I variable and will keep changing inside the inside loop also. So just remember, if outer loop is I, use some other loop variable name for the inside inner loop. Okay. So int j is equal to 1, then j
Less than or equal to 3.
Less, yeah.
yeah, less than or equal to 3. Why 3? Because 3 is the number of
Since you only want 3 students marks.
yeah, no, see, that is we have for 3 student marks we have tracked that outside. This is for
So 3 is the number of subjects also.
correct. 3 is the number of subject. Yeah, number of subjects. Okay. Now j plus plus. Okay. Now system dot out dot println, enter your marks in plus subject plus g. Okay. What does that do? Int submarks equal to s and dot next. Okay. Now okay, now I'll give you the next question, guys. Now I've initialized total to 0 and I'm reading each subject marks one by one. Okay. Now how do I calculate the full total of all these subject marks? Okay, so I'll give you an example. I'm like, Akshay, give me your math marks, and he's like 87. Okay, then I'll keep 87 in mind. Then I'll be like, Akshay, give me your chemistry marks. He'll be like 63, right? So then I'll keep 150 in my mind. Then he'll tell, give me your geography marks. Then he'll tell 70. Then I'll be like 220, right? So you saw how I did. As and when he was telling the subject marks to me, I was adding it to the total in my head. So how do I implement that logic in this code? What should I write here? My total initially before he started telling me the subjects was 0 in my head. Now as and when he gives me one subject's marks, I'll add it to the total. How would I do that?
Total plus is equal to sub marks.
Beautiful. That's the right answer. That's how we do it. Yeah. Total plus equal to subject marks. So as and when Akshay is telling me the marks, I'm adding the marks to my total. Okay. So that now let's just print out system dot out dot println wow plus name. You have got plus total marks. Okay. Now let us just try this program. There might be some error that pops up in the future, and I want you guys only to explain me what happened. Okay, let's say enter your name, Akshan, right? Enter your marks in subject 1, 23. Enter your marks in subject 2, 25. Enter your marks in subject 3, 25. Okay, wow, Akshan, you got 73 marks. Okay, now something very strange happened. It said enter your name, but it automatically went with to the next question without um, actually waiting for me to input the name. Can anybody just guess why?
So is it like should we give a break statement?
Mm-hmm. If you guys attended like my second class or something, right? I told you there was a crucial difference between next line and next int. Can you tell me what that was?
So next till reads till the next integer, does not read the whole line.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas next line reads till the reads the whole line.
Like until the integer gets over, it reads the whole thing.
Yeah, next int will read until the next integer gets over and until the end of the integer. Next line will read whatever is remaining in that line and go to the next line. So I just tell you what has happened here. So once I entered 25, right? Now until where will it read? Will it read when I use sn dot next in? Will it read until here? Will it read until here or will it read until here? next int, will it read the input stream until here or will it read until here?
So until 25 is end.
Exactly. So next int, what it does is it reads until the next end of next integer. So now you see what's happened, right? So the input stream still contains this much space. Okay, it's not still in the next line. So what this guy, when I've told enter your name, if you see enter your name is sn dot next line, right? So it's telling me, bro, there is still a lot of space here. This might also be an input. So I'll happily read that and I'll give you that as a name. So this is again just a little difference between sn dot next line and sn dot next interview. So that just to show you the difference. So one quick workaround regarding that will be just doing this. Okay, now let's see. Enter your name, Akshay. He's got 25. Oh, 25, 25. Akshay, you got 74 marks. Now let's say Mithila, she's got 25. I mean 25 and 21. She's got 70 marks. Wow. And then we have Achintya. He's got 23, 24, 23, and he's got 70 marks. So you guys understood the concepts, right? What concepts that we use here is whenever we are dealing something like three, like, okay, so how many marks in total am I taking here? In total,
So like 3 subjects, 3.
three students, three subjects. So how much is that in total?
6.
So 9.
Nine,
So 9.
exactly.
Oh, 3 students and 3. Okay.
Yeah. So for each student, we are taking three subject marks, right? So that is why we have to run it. Technically, we are inputting the marks 9 times. So see, in these sort of questions, right? Already in the question itself, you will know, like it's telling three subjects for three students. So that time only it will click in your head. Wait, this is not a 1D loop question. This is a 2D loop question, right? It's a loop within a loop, right? So that is how you are supposed to manipulate these sort of programs, and you have to realize these are nested for loops and solve them. Now I know today, right? It's a very advanced topic to understand the first day how to write one loop within another. Let's just use this as like one sample question that we solved together with a real world application just for our inspiration. But other than that, don't focus too much on understanding this problem today itself, guys. It'll take some time, so no issue. Just take a screenshot of this and we'll move on to the next question.
So,
Yeah.
so could you do one question from decision making programs DFNs?
Yeah. Decision making programs. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Where is it? Which decision making? Okay.
It's
So
before
can you
the
show the program for me for a
Yeah.
minute?
You can take a screenshot.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, done. Yeah. So let's go to the next question. Did you have any doubt in any specific question?
So can you also do the 20th one in decision making programs?
20th one, no? Okay, fine. Perfect. Okay, WAP to display the roots of a quadratic equation. What is this? A into ax square plus b cube x plus c. Okay. So here, right, we can do this, but let's see. Roots of quad equation, right? You guys have to help me out here, huh? I'm pretty weak in math, so you guys have to tell me what the formulas are and stuff. Public static void main string args. Okay. So let's just say display the roots of a quadratic equation. Okay. That is in the form of ax square plus bx plus c, okay, is equal to 0, right? This is the quadratic equation that we have. Okay, so can anybody tell me what a determinant is? Determinant, right, is what you call it. Yeah, determinant. Oh, you guys had quadratic equations in your 10th standard math?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, just tell me what a quadratic equation is first. Anybody? Any guess? See, because see, I'll tell you. Even right now, even I don't know what perfectly a quadratic equation is, right? So it just matters. Like, let's discuss this together and find out what a quadratic equation may be. Okay. Any guesses, guys? Why an equation may be called a quadratic equation? Okay, so
So if the equation is in the form of this ax square plus bx plus c in that kind of format, then it is considered a quadratic equation.
correct. Okay, now let's just see. Okay, so this is our let us say this is our coordinate axis, right? Okay, now what is this equation? This may be an equation of a, this is our y axis, this is our x axis. Okay, so what is this, an equation of a, what is this thing, this construct called? This is the origin.
So line.
Line, yeah, this is a line. So what is the equation of a line? Any guesses? Any guesses? I'll tell you, right? Basically, when thing is right, math is one such subject like nobody really understands, and people just get through their exams. But then sometimes, then you just wonder why things are like this, and maybe let's just so not really. I don't want you guys to be right when you're saying things, because being wrong is important more so than being right. If you guys are wrong when you say, then we know where we are lacking and when we can catch up. So, what is the equation of a line?
I'm not sure.
Okay, not sure. That, yeah. Okay, what is a line? Why is it called a line? Okay. You're standing in a line in college. You're standing in. Okay, I'll tell you, right. You guys go to this PT period or something. Oh, you have seen this cricket, right? The Indian team is huddling up, right? They're huddling up and standing together, like they make a circle around that. So when they're in a huddle, right? Do we call them that the Indian team has lined up there? When they're in a huddle, we don't say the Indian team is lined up. However, no, when they're standing like shoulder to shoulder, we say that they are lined up. Why is that? What is the quality of a line?
So it's like in a straight line, like it doesn't
Exactly.
bend
It is
anyway.
straight, okay. Another way to put it would be like the slope of this line is always constant. Okay. So that is another way to put it. Okay. Now the equation of a line, maybe you guys did not have this yet, or maybe you'll have it in the future, or I'm not sure. So y is equal to mx plus c. Anybody remember this? Y is equal to mx plus c.
So like I've heard of it, but we have never learned it in school yet.
So it was in the deleted portion, so they never taught us.
Okay. So basically, this is the equation of a line. Okay. So this is like a first order equation. Why I say it is a first order equation is because you see the power of x, right? The highest power of x in this question is 1, right? So m into x to the power 1. But now, can you tell me what is the highest power of x in a quadratic equation?
2.
2, exactly. So that is the basic difference, okay, between a linear equation and a quadratic equation. So usually when you see the graph of something like a quadratic equation, what happens, you get all these nice figures. You get something like this, you get something like even a circle, right? Circles also, you can represent it that way. Then we have something like this. So all these sorts of figures, right, which are circular and stuff, we can actually get through quadratic equations. Okay. Now coming to the next important part, we've understood what at least quadratic equations describe. Now let us find out how do you guys find the root of a quadratic equation?
B square minus 4ac.
Okay, yeah, that is the determinant of the determinant we can get through b square minus 4ac. Um, okay, this I need your help, okay, guys, because even I'm not sure. Now, b square minus 4ac. What are the three conditions here? b square minus 4ac, if it is equal to 0, what does that mean? B square, the determinant of the problem is 0. What does
It
that
is
mean?
a quadratic equation.
All are quadratic equations only what we have. But I'll give you the
Okay.
three cases. B square minus 4ac is greater than 0, and we have,
So 1 will be less than 0.
yeah, b square minus 4ac less than 0.
So in the first thing, the roots are real and equal. In the second
Perfect.
thing, the roots are real and imaginary. And the third thing, roots are imaginary.
Okay, so the second thing is the roots are real
And unequal.
and unequal. Yeah. The third thing is the roots are imaginary. Okay. So this much we have all figured out. Okay. Now let's see. Let us prompt the user to enter the values of. Okay. Can you tell me what the inputs will be here? What three values should I take from the user?
So like A, B, and C.
Exactly. So the standard format of quad equation is this. Okay. System.out.println. Enter the values of a comma b comma c. Okay. Now, what do we need to accept values?
Can you repeat it in here?
What do we need to accept values? We need to take an input from the user. Is there some class we use to take an input from the user?
Scanner class.
Perfect. Scanner class we use to take an input from the user. Scanner system. Okay. Now, int a is equal to sn dot next int, and b is equal to sn dot next int, and c is equal to sn dot next int. Okay. Now, what is the first thing that we have to calculate while wait just help me on this, guys. I'm just writing out the formula for quadratic equation. Just tell me if it's correct. Minus b plus or minus root of b square minus 4ac, the whole thing by 2a, right? This is the equation.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first thing that we have to check, okay, because these are three cases. Either they can be roots are real and equal, roots can be real and unequal, or roots can be imaginary. So for now, we'll only be concentrating on the first two parts, okay, because the roots are real and equal, and roots are real and unequal are the two major parts that we have to solve while doing the quadratic equation. So let's see. The first thing that you see, the whole thing is decided by the value of b square minus 4ac. If it is equal to 0, we have one case. If it is greater than 0, it is equal to another case. So first what we do is find the value of the determinant. Int d square is equal to b into b minus 4 into a into c. Okay, that we have found out, right? Now what is it saying in the question? Root of b square minus 4ac. Okay, so how do I get the root? Yeah, tell me.
Math dot square root.
Math.sqrt. Okay, one more thing. Okay, just because all of this, right, quadratic equation, whenever you're using double like square root and functions like that, always remember to do it using double. This is just a matter of correctness, because most of the roots are usually in decimals and stuff. So if you don't use decimals double when you're using square roots, right, it becomes a problem. Math.sqrt dsk.
So above double, what is int DSQ?
Okay, wait, this I want to clarify with you guys. Is determinant d, is it equal to root of d square minus 4ac, or is it d square minus 4ac? It's called determinant only, no?
Sir, it is root of b square minus
Okay,
4ac.
then it makes sense, right? So d square is b square minus 4ac. So determinant is square root of d square, right? So just to give an example, so 4 is 2 square, 2 square, and 2 is, sorry, 2 is square root of 4. So that is what I have done here. Okay, I found the value of the square of d here, d square minus 4ac, and the value of d is square root of d square. So that is what I have done there.
Okay, yes.
Now coming to the first case, if d is equal to 0, this is the case for which case?
If the roots are real and equal.
Roots are real and equal. So let us just look at the equation again. When a root of b square minus 4ac becomes 0, so the roots will only be this much, right? Minus b divided by 2a, because this part whole thing will be 0. You guys understood why, right? This part whole thing root of b square minus 4ac will become 0, right? So it doesn't matter if we add it in the equation or not. So the two roots will be minus b by 2a and plus b by 2a. That's all. No, minus b by 2a, sorry. Let's see. Okay. The roots are, let's say, double roots is equal to minus b by 2 into a. And just before that, there has to be, okay, this again is something to do with, sorry, double. Okay, so why I have done that, because there is, you guys know about implicit and explicit typecasting. uh, you guys know what typecasting is? Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, okay, what is typecasting? Does anybody have a clue? Anything?
I heard of it, but I forgot.
Okay, not an issue. uh, okay, what do you think? Okay, what might be types? When I say types, right, what is that concept closely related to here? Types, we have types of what? Types of data. So what are the types of data available here?
Sir, is it like a process where it converts a data type?
Exactly, it's so when typecasting is, right, when one data type is converted to another data type. Okay, during it can either be, one thing is called explicit typecasting, one thing is called implicit typecasting. Now why I changed everything to double is because whenever this division happens, right, first we had this integer type divisions. So whenever we suppose we had integer type division by integer type division, so the final value may come out to be 0. You know, right? Because if in integer type divisions, if the final value is let's say decimal number, it will either truncate it, or if it is from 0 to 1, it will just return me 0. So that case I wanted to avoid. So that is why I automatically converted everything to double and used it. And this is also a reminder for you guys to do this whenever you're using something like percentages. So in let's say in the program, it is get the percentage of something. Always use double and things like that to calculate that whenever you're dividing two things, for example. This is again just a matter of learning. Typecasting basically means conversion of one data type into another, and typecasting is of two types: implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting. Implicit typecasting means the compiler or the computer itself is doing the type conversion to solve a specific problem. Explicit typecasting means the user is instructing the instructing the computer to change the type specifically. So when I do something like int, right, this is known as explicit typecasting. I'm telling whatever value you get, first you convert it into integer and then assign it. Okay, and even this is also explicit typecasting, right? Now, if I do something like this, right, what do you think is happening here? What is on the right side? What data type is on the right side? Hmm,
Character.
character, correct. And what data type is on the left side?
Double.
Double. So basically, character can also be represented as an integer. Okay. So basically, double in general in programming, it is the highest primitive data types that you usually use, right? So what happens? Character is one of the smallest. You guys had that bytes, no? Like how much character data type occupies these many bytes?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, right, from a smaller data type, it is possible to for the computer to implicitly convert into a greater data type. Now let us see the reverse of this process. Now what is happening? It's throwing me an error. It's saying type mismatch cannot convert from double to character. From character to double we could do it. From double to character we can't do it. Why is that so?
Because character can not hold that much space.
Exactly. Character is a very small data type. It's like this. You have a very big shelf at home. Okay, you can put anything there. You can put your clothes. You can put your books. You can sometimes even if you get the mood, you can go sit inside that big shelf. But let's say you have a small pencil box. You can't put your book inside. You can only put one pen or something. You can't sit inside the box. So that is why, right? The memory space becomes important. From smaller memory spaces to higher memory space, it can implicitly convert. From bigger memory spaces to smaller memory spaces, it can't implicitly convert. Okay, so that is what is happening here. So now coming back to our original question, right? So root double roots is equal to um, minus b by 2 into a. Okay. Can anybody give me an example of quadratic equation with equal roots? The roots are plus roots. Now, how would you do that? Equal. What might equal roots mean? Any guesses? Any guesses? What equal roots may mean? When we say right, wait. See again. This I'm just assuming that you guys know what quadratic equations are. You had that in class. If you guys did not have it in class, please tell me, okay? Because I'm assuming that you guys know quadratic equations and what they mean at least to a certain level. So if you don't know, please tell me that, okay? Then we can skip ahead with that part and we can concentrate only on the programming part.
So, like, what was the question?
Yeah. What are roots of an equation? What do they mean? And what do equal roots? What do you think they might mean?
If they have equal roots, then the b square minus 4ac is equal to 0.
Yeah, that is one good understanding of the question. But can you give me an example of an equation with equal roots? Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, basically, what equal roots means, right? So let's say this equation x minus 3. And again, see, here is another important understanding for us. Quadratic equations, right? They're usually formed by multiplying two single order equations. So here, what is the order of x minus 3? The order means the highest power which x is raised to in that equation. What is the order of x minus 3 here?
1.
1, exactly. And what is the order of x here? 1. So when we are multiplying two equations, right? a single order equations, we get a quadratic equation, right? So let us see. Let us try expanding this. This will be x square plus minus x plus 6, right? Um, Correct, right? This is the math. I think it seems fine. Oh, minus 6. Sorry, minus 6, right? So this, what is this side here? What we have? We have a
Quadratic equation.
proper quadratic equation, exactly. And what is the value of a?
A is 1.
A is 1. B is
B is minus 1 and C is minus 6.
perfect. See, you guys have already understood like 60% of what quadratic equations are and how they form. Now, are these two things equal? X plus 2 and x minus 3, are they equal?
No, sir.
No. Okay, perfect. Now, can you tell me an example of equal roots then? These, I told you these are unequal roots because x minus 3 and x plus 2 are not equal. So give me an example of equal roots.
So can we say like x minus 3 into x plus 3?
Okay, x minus 3 into x plus 3. So those two things are different, right? So what happens? It's not quite right. But you're very close. You're getting there. You're almost there.
So then x minus 3 into x minus 3.
Perfect, perfect. X minus 3 into x minus 3. So are these two things equal?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, right? So now what will be the expansion of this? It will be x square plus 6x, I mean minus 6x plus 9. Okay. Now what is the value of a in this equation?
So A is 1, B is minus 6 and C is plus 9.
B is minus 6, C is plus 9. Okay. Now this is where our whole mathematic, I want you guys to listen to this part closely. Even if this may not be helpful in your computer programming, this will definitely be helpful in your mathematical understanding, okay? Because this will bring all the concepts together. Now at the start we told roots are real and equal. That means b square minus 4ac is equal to 0. That we understood. Now we took two real roots and we got the quadratic equation of it. Two real and equal roots and we got the quadratic equation out of that. Okay. And we took the value of a, b and c. Now let us put it in this format. B square minus 4ac. So what is the value of b here?
So B is minus 6.
B is minus 6. So b square is
So 36.
36. Okay. Minus 4 into what is the value of a?
4 into 1
1.
into
What is
9.
the value of c? 9. Okay. Now 4 into 1 into 9 is
36.
36. Okay. Now that is equal to
0.
0. So this is how, guys. First we started with the assumption that if roots are real and equal, they determinant is 0. Then we took a case of equal roots. Then we found the quadratic equation out of it. Then we found the value of a, b and c. Then we calculated the determinant and we proved it to be 0. So that is how this whole thing comes together, our understanding of quadratic equations. Okay. So now when the roots are real and equal, we find these roots like this. Now what is the second case? Else if d is greater than 0. Then we'll get two roots. See, this is because why I'm only calculating roots once, because they're equal, right? When roots are real and equal. Okay, now let's do another trick. Okay, I just a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 6 and c is equal to 9, right? In our equation. So a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 6 and c is equal to 9. Okay, the roots are 3.0. Is it right? We took x minus 3 and we got
Yes, sir.
yeah. So that is how we got the roots of our answer, right? And why does the minus sign change?
So because it's like x minus 3 is equal to 0, so when you bring that minus 3 to the right side, it will become plus 3.
Perfect, perfect. So that is our understanding, guys, of the roots are real and equal case. Now, what is the second case when roots are real and unequal? So first root will be double root 1 is equal to minus b plus d by 2a, minus b plus d by 2a. The second root will be double root 2. What will be the second root be? What is this? Wait, why is it a syntax error? Have I missed something? No, right? Double root 1 minus b. Okay, minus b plus d.
It will be 2 into a.
Oh, yeah, perfect. That's a good answer. Yeah, that's the right way to do it. Yeah. Okay. Now the second root will be root
I say minus b minus d divided by 2 into.
Perfect. Minus b minus d by 2 into a. So the system dot out dot println the root 2. The first root is root 1, root 2. The second root is okay. Now let's just go back to that unequal case. So what was the value of a here in this unequal roots? Value of a is x square minus 6x minus 6. The value of a is 1. Value of b is
Minus 1.
b is minus 1 and
C is minus 6.
c is minus 6. Yeah. Okay. So let's see this. Okay. So enter the value. A is 1, b is minus 1 and c was minus 6. I think so. Okay, the first root is 3, the second root is minus 2. Let's see. The first root, yeah, 3. The second root is minus 2. So that is how we like break down this concept into this. Okay, into cases where 3 cases where determinant is either real and equal, roots are real and unequal, and roots are imaginary. Okay, now coming to the third case. Have you guys studied? Have you guys? No. See this thing, right? This thing will require an understanding of what complex numbers are, right? I don't think you guys did what complex now about complex numbers.
So I don't think we did.
Okay, so for now, okay, we just keep it on a hold. We'll check this out later, okay? Because right now, like without an understanding of what complex numbers are, it's not ideal that we calculate the roots of this complex equation. But it's the same process. Everything is the same. But you just need an understanding what I is and what a complex number is. Okay. So, any other question, guys? Yeah. Yeah.
So your voice is breaking.
Oh, am I audible clearly now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The others, all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, any other question, guys?
So, could you do the fifth question?
Fifth question. Display this one, right? Display the difference between max and min of three numbers. Okay.
I also have a doubt in the loops program, so the
Okay.
17th one.
Tell me 71. Okay. Display maximum marks after reading the marks.
Sorry, 18th one, yeah. 18th one. Sorry.
Read marks in 5 subjects and display the difference between maximum and minimum marks. Okay, so these two problems we'll finish it up quickly. Okay, so let's start with this problem first. 18 read marks in 5 subjects and display the difference between maximum and minimum marks. Okay, let's do this first. Okay. For this you might you guys have you guys done arrays?
I haven't done yet, sir.
I'll show you a way where you can do it without arrays. But once you get arrays, you can do it that way. So it's much more easy to understand using arrays. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me what is the highest possible marks you can get in school?
100.
100. Okay. So int minimum.
100.
Now just don't think about why I've written int min is equal to 100, and we'll carry on. What is the maximum that you can get in school?
90.
Like, oh, you guys write exams out of 90. I mean, oh no, sorry. What is the lowest marks they give you? 0, right? Okay. Now the first step, right? The problem was read marks of 5 subjects and print difference between min and max. Okay, this was our problem. Okay, now what should we do? What can anybody just quickly break it down into the parts and tell me? First, what will be our step? Every time, every program we do, this will be our first.
So to accept the marks of 5 subjects over previous scanner.
Yeah, accept the marks of, yeah, perfect. Scanner SN is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, so that we have done. Now, what loop should I use? Should I use a looping statement here? Is it yeah? Continue. I can hear you.
So will it be like maximum minus maximum minus
Okay. I didn't get your question clearly, but I'll just come to the next part. If okay, I'll just tell you what we have to do next, right? Because we have 5 subjects, we have to iterate and take each subject's marks. So what we can do, we'll start from 1 to up to 5 we'll go, and we'll accept the marks of each subject. Okay. So for int I is equal to, is this marks of 5? Okay, marks of 5 subjects only, right? Int I is equal to 1, I below 5, I below equal to 5, I plus plus. Okay. Now system.out.println enter marks of subject plus I. Okay. Now in subject marks is equal to sn dot next int. Now I'm going to write a very important thing next step. Okay, and I want you guys, even if you take 5 minutes, I want you guys to think and tell me why I have written it that way and why will that sort of thing work. Okay, if sub marks is greater than max is equal to sub marks. Okay, system dot out dot println highest marks is plus max. Okay, now 5 minutes guys, or how much ever time you want, just think why this code will return me the maximum marks of the student.
So because you put like subject marks is equal to the max, so it will automatically like take in the max value and it will show it.
Okay, so that part we have understood, right? So if I'm telling you the trick right behind this is here. The whole magic of this program is in the 7th line.
So but
So
will we like
program 0,
Yeah.
so the marks be greater than 0, of course the marks you get.
Yeah.
So that becomes this, now 0 becomes to the sub marks. If
Perfect. What a good answer. This one, right? This sort of understanding we can easily build up on our programming skills, right? This sort of understanding it took me many years to get, and you guys are doing all of this in 3-4 months, right? I'm actually kind of proud of you guys. But anyway, so let's say in my head, okay, so Akshay, Akshan, Mithila, and Varshini are standing in a line, and my job is to find out who got the maximum marks. Now, if I assume the maximum is already 100, then I go and ask Akshay, bro, how much you got? He's like, I got 80, bro. If my assumption is already greater than what he's got, then I'm not finding the true max. First, my assumption will be the lowest possible value for the max marks. Then I'll be like, bro, I'll assume the highest in the line may be 0 first. Then I'll go ask Akshay, bro, how much you got, bro? He'll be like, bro, I got 50, bro. I'm like, oh, nice. The current max is 50 because it is greater than our first assumption of 0. Then I'll ask Varshini. She'll be like, I got 70. I'm like, oh, nice. The new max is 70. Then we'll come to Mithila. She'll be like, I got 60. Oh, 60 is not greater than 70. So the current max is still 70. Now finally I'll go as Achintya. He'll be like, I got 90. Then I'll be like, oh, the new max is 90. So you guys understood, right? Why we initialized 0 at first. Now I want you guys to justify why we have initialized min at 100. Can anybody tell me why we have initialized min marks as 100? Any guesses, guys? I'll give you 3-4 minutes. Take your time, try to understand why it may be so. And because I tell you, right, once you get it yourself, you'll never forget it for the rest of your life. And that is like a beautiful moment of understanding for you guys. Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
2 minutes, huh? 2 minutes or 3 minutes. How much ever time you guys want to take, you guys can take and tell me why I have initialized the minimum to 100.
So is it because it's out of 100?
Exactly, it's out of 100. But what does that do? Can you explain me like with an example? What if I had
So
initialized
like,
min to 0? Why is min? Why can't min be initialized to 0? Why it should only be initialized to 100?
So then, if min is 0, then the submarks cannot be less than minimum.
Perfect. That's a good understanding. That's a good understanding. Now, can you build on it and explain the whole situation to me?
So is it like no matter what marks you get, it's going to be less than 100 or 100?
Perfect. See
So
that.
your minimum will be your marks.
Exactly, because whatever marks if I input, it is going to be less than the minimum. That is the right way to initialize, right? Now, if I imagine I already initialize at 0, so no matter what the marks I enter there will always be greater than 0. So the real subject minimum I won't get. So what I have to, my goal is there to initialize marks in such a way that the marks that entered will never be less than minimum. So even this is right? Even this is correct. But one problem is there because integer can't have those many zeros. Apart from that, any value for minimum that is above the maximum possible marks is fine. But that is the correct understanding. I hope everyone got that example.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's just see. Right now we just print out the highest and the lowest marks, right? So let's say enter the subject marks of subject 123 and 25, 12, 3 and 99, right? The highest marks is 99 and lowest marks is 3. So that is how we got this program, right? And just to print out the difference, system.out.println, the difference between highest and lowest is plus max minus min. Yeah, you guys can take a screenshot of this program.
So,
Yeah.
so we first existing the rubber internal enter the marks of the subject. Why have we done plus I?
Okay, so plus I is basically right just an indicator. So like when I run this program right here, it says enter the marks of subject 1, right? Then enter the marks of subject 2. Enter the marks of subject 3. This is just for the user to understand, right? Just like an indicator. You don't have to write it. But once you don't write it, right, it starts seeming monotonous. So enter the marks of subject, okay. Enter the marks of subject again. So then no, it doesn't give a sense of progression to the user. So only for that reason.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Guys, everybody took a screenshot of this question. Tell me when I can move it.
Yes,
Last
sir.
problem for the day.
No, took it.
Okay, perfect. So now coming to the last problem of the day, guys, we are going to something called decision making number 5, right? display the, oh, that is the same thing, right? Display the difference between max and min of three numbers. That's basically what we did there also, right? It was five subjects here. Instead of five subjects, we just do it for three numbers, then, right? So that's the same problem, I guess. Was that the problem you were talking about in decision making statements?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yes, sir. So we just instead of 5, we put 3 and
Exactly.
then put enter a number and then do
Yeah.
it the same way.
Yeah. Perfect. That's yeah. Anything else, guys? Any other question? Or let's call it a day.
One last question, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect.
From the loop on the 19th one, how do you like?
Loop
1
19.
second.
Oh, this is
Just
a
a
nice
sec.
question. This is a nice question.
Yeah, that one. Like, how do you keep asking the user and then how do you stop it?
Okay.
Like, I don't know how to do that.
This is actually a good program. Let's solve this one nicely, guys, and let's call it a day after this. Yeah. Last problem.
So which question?
19th one in loops.
Yes.
Full concentration, and then we call it a day, and we have a great Sunday after this. Yeah. Okay. So this is a question. Continuous. Let's just call it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So again, what would be our first step in this question?
Input from the user.
So the input user.
So, guys, this it's sort of saying in this question, right? Is it giving us any indication as to how many times the program should iterate?
No, sir.
Yeah, it is not correct. It is not giving us an exact number of times the program should iterate. So, what sort of looping construct should we use? We should use an
While loop.
while loop. Okay, perfect. I mean, you can use a for loop. See, whenever we are using for loop, while loop, and things like that, we can use any loop. But whatever you're most comfortable with, you have to use in that question. Okay. In this question, maybe we are very comfortable using a while loop. Okay. While loop. And what should the while? Because it's not giving us any indication as to when the loop should end, I'll just tell you this: we can use an infinity loop, one loop that doesn't have a ending. Okay, so can you tell me how many times this current program will execute?
Sir, until like we stop.
Infinite times.
Infinity. See, in this construct, do it for infinite times. So now,
So we can't stop an infinite loop, right?
right, correct. We can't stop an infinite loop. So, what is one statement that we can use to break an infinite loop? My God, it's a very good clue that I've given.
Break.
So break.
Yeah. Right. So we can use. Okay, how many times will this loop execute?
So now it will be one.
Once, correct. First we'll enter the loop, immediately break and exit. Okay. Now we have got the basic clues that we need. Let us now analyze the question. We have to calculate the number of positive and negative elements. So we'll say int pos count is equal to 0, int net count is equal to 0. Okay. Again, this it's a matter of style. I usually write when you're writing bigger programs. Instead of this, you can just do this, right? Again, it's a matter of style.
Yes.
So system.out.println. Okay, we need to initialize our scanner class before we take any sort of input. Scanner lesson is equal to scanner.
Pause count is what's the full form?
The count of positive integers.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So enter a number. Enter a number. Okay. Now, how do I check if a number is positive? When is a number?
So if it is greater than 0.
Perfect. If okay, as int num is equal to sn dot next int. If num greater than 0, what should I do? Okay, I use
Should be like
Increase
SOP
the
alone.
count.
uh-huh.
maybe increase the count.
Perfect, perfect. Good answer. Pause count plus plus. Okay. Now, what is the second case?
So if number is less than 0.
So negative count.
If num is less than 0. Okay. Now, want you guys to tell me, is there any way I can improve this code? Okay.
So if else,
You're correct. Tell me, continue. If else, what? You're correct. Some concept of else is also involved. But tell me, what concept is that?
So after if, should we put like else if number is less than 0, and then in the last we have to put else?
Exactly, exactly. I'll tell you the difference between these two. It is very slight, okay? But again, it comes to the programmer's understanding and logic. Can a number ever be greater than 0 and less than 0 at the same time?
Awesome.
No.
so can we put if number is less than 0 in the same if where it's like positive count also, like
See,
in
what
the same
happens
loop.
is this loop will execute only if number is greater than 0. Now, if we try putting both of these things together, right, then it won't go to this if num is less than 0 loop itself, right?
So but
Tell me.
when you're finding like odd and even number,
Yeah.
it is there like we can do it in one loop also, right?
Okay, see, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why that's important. I get what you're saying. Because you can use one loop construct when there are only two possible scenarios there. But are there two possible scenarios right now? Even and odd is two possible scenarios. Are there two scenarios here?
No, sir, it's one.
No, there is
There are two, yes.
there are not two scenarios. I'm telling you, we had one scenario for num is greater than 0, another scenario for num is less than 0. What is the third scenario?
So if num is equal to 0.
Exactly, exactly. So that is why whoever asked the question, right? That is why we handle it in three different loops. I mean, three different statements. Else. Okay. Uh, okay. Now, one more thing that I wanted to explain you guys is this program fine? Like, if you write it into if statements, is it fine? Will the program execute?
So should we put a break in between?
No. Don't like go to the next step. I mean, that will come afterwards. But if I write it like this, and if I write it like this, okay, without else, will this program execute?
No, sir. Like it will only execute like the first one, the positive count.
That's a good okay. So here, right, I'll just tell you where's the difference. When I break every statement into if, right, it will always check. Now in this, right, let's say I have entered a number called 3. First it will check if number is greater than 0, then it will increase pause count. Then again unnecessarily it will check if number is also less than 0. So that becomes unnecessary, right? If only one case is passing, that means a number can't be both greater than 0 and less than 0. The program will work perfectly fine even if you use else if or if in this case. But why we use else if? Because we are reducing the checking time or runtime of the program. That's all. Okay. So now else if, what is the third scenario? We check for greater than 0, less than 0 and
Equal to 0.
exactly. So else
Equal.
that is the last case, right? Now what should I enter here? What should be the body of the code? So what I want you guys to think about the next answer for 2 minutes. So it says keep reading inputs from this user until he presses a 0. Okay, until he presses. Okay, so when I press 0, that means I should stop reading input. Okay, so what should I enter here? I should exit out of this infinite loop.
So break.
Exactly, man, exactly. So once he enters 0, we break. And then finally we print out the number of positive and negative numbers. System.out.println the number of positive numbers are plus pause count, then sorry. Account. Okay, now let's see what this does. Okay, F11. Enter a number, let's say 12. Okay, enter a number 34, minus 5 and 0. Okay, the number of positive numbers are 2, the number of negative numbers are 1. And as soon as we enter 0, we exit out of the loop and print the output. So this is how we do that program. So whenever you have to exit from an infinite loop, right, you always use a break statement. Okay, whoever asked that question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. When you read a question, always break it down into simple parts. See from where, and especially in looping problems, right? See from which number you have to iterate to which number. So right now, right in this conversation, also somebody started saying that you have to start the iteration from num. Okay, let me do that. Okay, that's also perfectly fine. Now what should I do? Can anybody tell me? Now it starts from num. It should go up to.
So to like
To 1. Okay, then is this correct now, the program?
no, sir.
Sir, I greater than or equal to.
Okay, I greater than equal to 1 is correct. This is correct. But I'm telling the program is wrong. Why is the program wrong? There's something in this part only, something is wrong.
Sir, it will be one like, instead of none.
Instead of, guys, I'm really sorry. I think my audio is not good. Yeah, can
Sir,
you?
instead of none, it will be one, sir.
Yeah, no. See, I'm telling these two parts are correct. Okay, I'll give you an example, right? If you're counting from 1 to 10, you will say 1.
Sir, if you decrement I, not increment I.
Yeah. Perfect. So just coming to what I was saying, right? If you're counting from 1 to 10, right, you'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So you're increasing each time by 1. But now, right, according to our logic, we are starting from num and we are going down to 1. So we have to decrease by 1, right? So that is the logic. You can write the loop in both the ways, whichever way is comfortable to you. And accordingly, this has to be taken care of.
So we can even like switch none to one and then after that one to none.
Yeah, num to 1 we switch
And then after that in place of minus, no sir, one will change to none.
yeah, 1 will change to num and
Yes sir, and then after that I minus minus will become plus.
yeah, perfect. I think now you guys have got the exact way this works, right? That's how you do the for iteration. Both the ways are right, but it just depends on when you're starting from 1 and going up to the number, you should increment. When you're starting from the number and coming down to 1, you have to decrement. So guys, you can take a screenshot of this this thing program, and I'll just go to the next program. Giving you 5 seconds, and tell me when you're done. Okay.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, you guys are done. Okay, perfect. We go to the next question. I'm just figuring out where that thing was.